Hey friends, so I know it's probably really, really late and I'm making this video, but I actually took my son out to see this amazing movie. And I call this message um, using God can use anything to speak to you. I love, for the past 7 years, I've been on this journey and I've noticed that the Father is nowhere near religious. He is far from it. If you've ever seen the movie The Shack, I'm going to be promoting some movies here, and I'm going to give some spoiler alerts. So, just FYI, if you're the type of person to be like, don't tell me about the movie, I'm going to have to apologize to you right now. But I gotta say this because when I saw this movie, it was amazing. But let me go back to The Shack. Okay, so in the movie The Shack, there's a part where he's running on water, I think, and he looks at Jesus and he says to him, you're not as people say, like you're not all this um, religion and Jesus respond, religion. He's like, ugh. He goes, religion takes too much work. I'm not looking for slaves. I want friends. And what a beautiful statement. I really believe that God really appointed a man to write such a great movie, at an appointed time for people to hear. And I know that that movie really got a lot of, hate mail, basically. There's some that just didn't like it, they couldn't understand it. But for those that could understand it, those who saw the message behind what you were seeing on screen, my God, it blessed the socks off of me. And to this very day, every time that I see it, I think, oh my gosh, that movie really, really is speaking to his children. And it really does take Father, the Holy Spirit, to help you see behind the lines, to see the message behind it. And it's just a great movie. It's a movie to show that your Father is not religious at all. He's very young, he's very vibrant, he's colorful, he's full of life, and he's completely head over heels in love with you. And just this gentle side to the Father, you know. There's many of us that we have a bad concept of the Father. We either see him, and I'm saying this from experience. Um, we either see him like how I did, a long time ago. I saw him as this old grumpy dude, up there on his throne and just waiting for me to mess up and giving me a bunch of rules to follow and stuff like that. And, you know, that's how I saw him until I got a hold of this ministry, and it was all about the love of the Father. And I started hearing this pastor, and he started talking about how young this Father of ours is. He's not this old grumpy dude that is on his throne waiting for you to screw up or to fall short. It's actually on the opposite. He's a loving Father waiting patiently for you to see how truly special you are to his eyes, how much you are loved by him in your most ugliest of moments, in the moments that you are ashamed, and the moments that you can't tell anybody because you feel that low. You feel that guilty about what you're experiencing or what you're doing, that sometimes it's so bad that you can't even tell the closest person to you. And that could be either your wife, that could be your husband, that can be your parents, you know. So nobody wants to people to look down on them. I completely understand that. But I want you to know that the Father knows the secret things that go into your mind, and He's not pointing them out to make examples. of your life and shatter them and tell people, that you're a bad person, or to even make you feel like a bad person. On the contrary, he is loving you back to life. He knows every single thought that enters your mind, whether it's good, whether it's bad in your eyes. And he still says the exact same thing over and over again. You are forgiven. You are approved. I don't love you anything less than how I saw you before you had those thoughts. What a journey I have been in to actually come to see that in the Bible for myself. Because when people would speak that, it was really hard for me to believe. It was actually too hard. And I was like, no, there has to be something. There has to be something that he's asking me to do, that he's demanding me to do. That way I can at least earn this love. And the truth is, friends, you can't earn the kind of love that he gives to you. I promoted my friend's new clothing line, her new clothing apparel, and it's called, Love So Divine. And I posted it on my Instagram, a Twitter account, Facebook, and obviously now YouTube. But it's a message, it's a website full of the Father's love to you, and it's speaking straight to your soul. It's not coming after your behavior, it's not coming about, getting after you about your thoughts or anything like that. It's going straight to your soul and telling your soul, relax, rest in your Father's love. Everything's going to be okay because he loves you. He is moving on your behalf right now. He is bringing healing in those places right now because of his great love for you. His determination is bigger, better than everything you can think of. So throughout my 7 years, this journey, the Father has been showing me so many things, whether it's in songs. He's used rap songs before. I don't even hear rap. I'm not dogging rap or anything like that, but I'm just saying it's just not my genre. I'm usually classical. Obviously I like, Christian music. There are certain things I just don't listen to, and rap is probably the last one. Hey, you might like rap, that's okay. I'm not putting it down. But what I am saying is that he's used words that a Christian would be like, oh my God, no, God would never talk to me like that. He would never use those things. And man, what a wake up call to myself, because throughout my 7 years, he has spoken to me so directly that it's almost like, okay, where's the camera? Who's been getting into my mind? Like, this is no joke. Like, it almost looked scary because I'm like, okay, am I losing my mind here? Or how in the world is this movie or this song pointing at me directly? And I couldn't see that I was that special to my Father, that he would use what we would call a worldly song, a rap song, not Christian, nothing to do with Christianity, a song like that to hit straight to you and say, daughter, I can use anything. Son, I can use anything to speak to you. Don't limit me. Don't limit me. I can use anything to give you a clear picture that I'm for you, that I'm loving you, that I'm right there with you. And man, friends, have I felt so special in the past 7 years that it's incredible, because he's used even movies like Star Wars. I mean, it's incredible. New movies, old movies, songs, dreams, so many beautiful things. And man, you get so overwhelmed by all of these words coming straight at you, hitting your heart, saying, I love you. I love you. And I've always loved you. I've loved you with an everlasting love. And man, all these things with one conclusion, one message, one simple, clear message of I'm right there with you. I know what you're going through, and I'm not judging you. I'm right there with you. And man, friends, I have felt so special that every cell in my body is starting to come alive more and more and more to see a father love me at my worst and the things that I cannot change about myself has been so incredible. And this last movie I took to my son, and so I'm going to give you all a disclaimer right now. Warning, warning, warning. There is a spoiler alert coming your way. Okay, so let's get started, okay? So I took Braden to go see this movie tonight called Elemental. Okay, I don't know if you've seen it. Um, I don't watch a lot of TV. I watch a lot of YouTubers. I love makeup videos. I love cooking channels, and I love all this different kinds of stuff. So I really don't see a lot of the previews that are coming out. But um, my friend saw it. She took her little boy to see it, and she called me. She's like, "Stacy, you got to see this movie because it's gonna speak to you. It's gonna speak to you. You got to see this movie." And I'm like, "Okay, cool." So I tried searching for it. And my little boy, he's like, "What are you looking for, Mom?" And I told him, I was like, "Oh, I'm looking for this movie called Elemental." And he goes, "Oh my gosh, Mom, it's so good." I was like, "Really? You've seen it?" And he goes, "Oh, yeah." He goes, "It's really, really good." And I thought, okay, okay, yeah, let's see it. So, anyways, um, I couldn't, it was like coming out fuzzy and stuff like that. And on our TV. So I was like, bummer. I was like, okay, well, I guess I'll just have to wait until it comes out, on Redbox or something. And then come to find out, my town actually had the movie, playing at the movie theater. So I was like, oh my gosh, I got to go see this movie. I got to see this movie. So, anyways, I went to see the movie tonight, and I kid you not, I freaking kid you not. Usually, whenever the Father speaks to me, he his I know this is gonna be so hard to hear, friends. I get it. You don't have to believe me, but this is so special to me. He always puts a certain object in the movie to show me that he's talking to me. And that object, that thing is a butterfly. Um, that's his like stamp of approval, not stamp of approval, but it's like this is for you, daughter. And it's so beautiful. I feel so special because he's talking straight to me. And if you if you know anything about a butterfly goes through obviously a metamorphosis and is completely transformed, something looking like um, a caterpillar, you know, into something completely beautiful. There's not a lot of people that like caterpillars. I honestly don't like caterpillars, but when they go into that cocoon, everything is dark and they transform completely, and they are the most beautiful, beautiful things that we see flying around today, especially in springtime. And I see them all the time. So it's like bombarding me, every time I see a butterfly. So that's why all the lights are my butterflies, because that is the Father's little love stamp to me. So in this movie, they keep mentioning butterflies, and I'm like, oh my god. So I'm like trying to keep it together, and really seeing like, oh my gosh, okay, pay attention, Stacy. What is the message? Okay, so Elemental. I'm sorry, I'm going all different places, so I hope that you can keep up. I'm just really excited, friends. I'm really excited. In the movie Elemental, there is a girl who has a family, and she is flame, she's fire. And then um, her family goes to this city, and it's surrounded by different elements. So they have fire, they have water, they have land, they have air. um, oh, I don't know what, I can't think of anything else off the top of my head, but they're all elements, okay? And the fire family stays in their place, and they don't mix with, you know, the other elements, because they think that the fire belongs with fire, and that's it. There's no room for change. That's the law, right? That's the law that they've made for themselves. They don't mix, you know, kind of like how we would say oil and water don't mix, right? Okay. Well, in this movie, it's fire and water. Um, and the fire, really, the father, who's fire, has a little business, has a little shop and stuff like that. And, he's getting old, and he wants to pass it on to his daughter, who is obviously younger, and she is quicker and stuff like that, and can do those orders and make these things for the shop a lot quicker than he can. She's just younger. She's a younger version of him, right? So he automatically assumes that she's going to take over once he retires, and he's getting ready to retire and wants to actually get her to take over. Well, there's only one problem. There's only one problem. She has an issue, okay? And all this time, he's trying to get her to take over the business, but he keeps seeing this issue come up. And that issue is she loses her temper very quickly, and she becomes this raging flame of fire, and she misses everything up. She becomes so outraged that a water burst. And the father is like, okay, well, in the very beginning, when she does that, because she can't communicate, if somebody starts pissing her off, she gets really, really outraged, and she just blows up. Well, the father sees that, and he's like, okay, it's fine. You're going to grow into not doing that. Like, you're going to learn how to um, change that about yourself, as time goes by. Well, in the next scene, it says many years later. Well, that little girl now is a young adult, and she's still having the same problems. And she's getting mad at herself because this is something that she cannot change. She just can't. And as much as she wants to, she finds herself that she cannot change. And one day he gives her full access to the shop, and it's like, okay, today's the day, make me proud. And she's like, yeah, definitely, I'm gonna, make you proud, and I'm gonna have it controlled. I'm gonna have this anger control, and I'm not gonna lose my top or anything like that. So come to find out, the day arrives, and before she opens the door, to let the people come into the shop, she's like, okay, just take a deep breath and be calm, and, just be calm. She uses these tactics to calm herself, and she's like, okay, I can do this, right? Well, does that sound familiar? Like, I know that speaks to me, because there's a lot of things in my life that I try to use my own willpower, and then I just fall flat on my face. And so automatically I start seeing myself and in the movie. And so anyway, she opens the doors, they're all coming in, and everyone's like getting stuff and breaking things and just making a mess. And she's like, okay, just calm down, just, breathe. And, she's seen so many things happening, and she's like, she feels herself, like the fire is just like getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And she's like, and she covers her mouth, and she goes to like the boiler room, and she just like explodes. And she didn't want anybody to see her, because she was ashamed that she had that issue. She had that problem. She could not control it, even though for years and years and years it was being contained, because she didn't want to displease her father. She didn't want to displease her dad, that loved her so much. And so she contained it. She was restraining herself, knowing very well she had that issue. She had that issue, and um goes downstairs, goes to the boiler room, and she gets so angry that she burst into, um, what do you call it? One of the pipes, and the pipes break, water comes in, and so she meets a guy, and I'm trying to do the fast version to get to the point of this. I'm sorry, friends. But she meets this guy. He's water. Now, remember what I told you in the very beginning, fire doesn't mix with water, right? The father will not allow that. That's his law. That's his rule. They don't mix. So, anyways, come to find out, she starts falling in love with this guy because he's trying to help her restore the family business, because she's supposed to take over and she wants to make her father proud. Well, she loses herself in the meantime. I mean, she's losing herself because she's trying so hard to see that. I mean, she's trying to get her father's approval because she knows that she has a problem and she can't fix it, but she knows in order to make her father proud, she has to get rid of this thing that is plaguing her, so as much as she wants to fix it, she's finding out more and more that she has a voice, that it's been contained for so long. It's been muzzled. It's been told, that's wrong of you to have that problem. And this guy, which is the other element of water, he's telling her, hey, there's times where I lose it too, and that's okay. It's fine. Like, I just kind of just tell let it flow out of my mouth. I stopped making basically rules for myself, just let it flow. And she just kind of looks at him like, okay, that's not how I've been told. Like that, like it was like some kind of light bulb for her. And that was the point of transition for her, because she thought for so long that she was supposed to contain this issue of hers. And then this guy comes along who's so free spirited and tells her, it's okay. It's okay. It's okay that you're feeling that. And she's just shocked. And then from that point on, she starts to realize, hey, I don't really want to take over the family business. I have dreams of my own. And she comes to realize that the reason why she's so angry is because she wasn't allowed to be herself. She wasn't allowed to make her own beauty. And in the movie, towards the end, that fire that was once so, full of fumes, full of fuel, just raging, was actually, when she was sitting down at the beach, she noticed that she made something so beautiful. It like turned into glass, like, and she made a rose out of it. And it was so beautiful. She was able to see that there was beauty inside of her, but the anger was producing because somebody was trying to muzzle it. Somebody took away her voice. And look, I mean, it spoke to me so much because since I was a little girl, I experienced a lot of anger, and it went straight into my marriage. And I experienced violence growing up, and it went into my marriage as well. But as a little girl, I was not allowed to have emotions. I was not allowed to, be me. I was always told, don't do this, don't do that. It's bad for you. I never got to see my father loving me for me. It was like I was muzzled. I was always told what to do, and I never saw any kind of beauty inside of me because I was being muzzled. And that just made me angry. I wasn't allowed to have any kind of emotions at all. I wasn't allowed to have to be sad. I wasn't allowed to laugh so hard, and I love my father, bless his heart. He also didn't know. He was muzzled also. Like I said, this is not a blaming game, but this is just facts. And maybe you're in that place too, where you've been told that having emotions, being angry, being selfish, being jealous, being, just mean, you're a bad person for that. That's so incorrect. The Father loves every little part of you, every cell in your body. He loves you. And in this movie, she's discovering the beauty that's inside of her and how she wants to be free. She sees this guy who gives her a different side of life of it's okay to be you. And she notices that anger starts to diminish more and more. Even her mom starts seeing like something's changing about you. Even her father in the movie says there's something, like he's like, there's something different about you. You're not getting so angry. You're starting to um, interact with the customers now without blowing your top so easily. Like, like what's different about you? Well, she found a guy who absolutely loved her for who she was and not trying to control her. And that's what I loved, because it was a message to me of, for so long you have been controlled because you thought I was one way. You thought I was a father trying to control your life, giving you all these commands. And because you didn't know the word, you couldn't divide it correctly, divide the word of truth correctly. The word of God says, you know, um, which I'm going to share tonight. But because I didn't know any better, I was I was I was subject to, and I couldn't have any of those emotions. That it was a bad thing. I was a bad girl for it. And I was told in my marriage, I was told in my family that having all these issues was a bad thing, and that I needed to get it together. I needed to control it, because then it was going to control me. But nobody ever told me that when you feel muzzled, like if someone's doing this to you and saying, okay, you're not going to do this, you shouldn't be saying those things, like Christians shouldn't be doing this, and making so many rules, for you, that you think the Father is doing that. The Father is the exact same way, and he's not. In this movie, I know it's a cartoon, but man, friends, you gotta see this movie, because at the end, she realizes this guy that loves her for who she is and not what her issues. He loves her in her issues and her strengths and her weaknesses. He just freaking loves her. And it's like he loves her back to life, who she really is. And he makes her see that you have beauty within you. Like, yes, you have all that, but look at what you made. Look at what you created. And come to find out, she's able to save, at the very end, she's able to save her father's shop, you know, um, by keeping a certain flame alive. And she's able to embrace her weaknesses. She's able to embrace the fact that she can't change herself. And that's okay. She needed love to transform her. She didn't try to contain it. He never, that's what, oh God, friends, if you could see what I'm trying to say to you, It took love, perfect love, which is the Father's love to you, to transform her. It took perfect love to transform her. Water, the element water, was not trying to change anything about her. He kept admiring her, if anything. He kept saying, God, you're so different. I forget he used the word special. You're so special, because he saw that when she would get so bright in the flame, you know, she would, and when he was next to her, it created like this beam of light, like she beamed, and he just called her my light. Like he saw the beauty in her. Instead of saying you are bad, like, God, why can't you freaking contain it? No, he loved everything about her, and he pointed out everything that was right about her, and she wasn't used to that. She didn't know what to do with so much love, and that's how I felt like when I started receiving this message. When I started to receive this message that there was nothing wrong with me, there was nothing wrong with me. And that even though people were saying bad things about me, they misunderstood that there was beauty inside of me, that my Father loved me, that He loves me right now, you know, and He loves you with all of your stuff, with all of your issues. He's not going to spit you out of His mouth. That's a lie. I hate when Christians use verses of the Bible and they take it out of context. They bring in messages that were from the Old Testament, the Old Covenant, versus now we are now in the New Covenant. There is a new thing. Things have changed, and Christians are now adopting things that were of the old and bringing it into the new and saying it is God. And that, gosh, I'm going to squash that. That is not true. That is not true. The Bible says very clearly, um, um, let me see here if I can be diligent to, let me see, no. Um, I find it. I got it. I got to tell you this. This is so beautiful. I think it's Second Timothy. Oh, it's so fun. I'm sorry, friends. I know I'm stalling here, but I want to give it to you. I think it's Timothy. Yeah. Oh my gosh, right in front of my face. Okay, so it's Second Timothy chapter 2, verse 15. It says, "Be diligent to present yourself approved to God." Okay, notice how it says that. Present yourself approved. It's like you coming in the presence of the Father saying, I'm approved. I'm the one that you love. That's what it means. Be diligent to present yourself approved to God as a workman who does not need to be ashamed, accurately handling the word of truth. Okay, accurately handling the word of truth. This is not, the Bible says the law was given to Moses, but grace and truth came through Jesus. Do you see how there's two things here? There's two ways. It's the old covenant, the 10 commandments, and now the new covenant, which Jesus brought. It says grace and truth are on the side of Jesus. The law is on the side of Moses. Okay? And that law brought condemnation, okay? And in Romans, it says that condemnation actually leads to death. That's a very big deal, friends. Very big deal. Grace and truth are on the side of Jesus, which is the new covenant. It's the truth of his grace. So when you are looking at the word, make sure that you are dividing it correctly. Everything in the light of the finished work, what has been done for you. Okay? So to sum it up, the girl ends up telling her father. She embraces the fact that she's her and she's okay with it. And love transforms her. She gets together with the love of her life, which is water. And she tells her father the truth. I don't want to take over your business. I have something I want to pursue of my own. And the father, it's funny because there's a scene where she says, I just wanted to please you, Dad. I just wanted to please you. This was your dream. This whole shop was your dream, and I didn't want to mess it up. And he says to her this he says to her this amazing thing. And he says to her, the shop is not my dream. You are my dream. It's so beautiful, friends. You know what verse comes to mind when he said that? He says, the shop is not my dream. You think that this is my dream? No, daughter, let me correct you on that one. You are my dream. The verse that comes to my mind is where it says, the joy of the Lord is my strength. A lot of Christians have adopted a message that says, oh, I have the joy of the Lord. I'm the joy of the Lord. It's my strength. But I'm going to bring something to you. It's the Father's joy over you. You are his joy. And that will give you the strength for whatever you face. For the past 7 years, I have done nothing but drench myself in the love of the Father for myself. I've been growing and growing to see that there was nothing wrong with me. There was nothing wrong with me. And that the teaching that I was being told over and over again was so wrong and so full of rules and so full of guilt that I felt muzzled. I felt like I wasn't being me. And nobody ever presented it the way that I heard it presented. And that was, I was his joy. No matter what I brought to the table, I was his joy. It took perfect love. The Bible says perfect love will cast out fear. Because the word says fear brings about punishment. When you think that the Father is not for you because you're experiencing some things, let's just call, I use anger a lot because that's what I dealt with. And when I would lose my top, when I would just overreact, I felt, and I would, come to my husband and I would tell him, I just got so angry at what he was doing or what he said, or just not even knowing that anger was stemming from all those years of not being able to be me and being okay with that I couldn't change that about myself. What I was truly looking for was a father loving me in all of my mess. And it just vomited on Blake. And obviously it turned out that we got a divorce. And because he couldn't handle it, and I was still in the process of learning such a beautiful message that it was just too much. Um, so seeing this movie tonight, love transforms her. And it was ugh, unconditional, perfect love transformed her. It wasn't someone telling her to stop. I know many people right now who have drug problems, who are doing things that Christians would say that are a bad thing. And I see their heart that they're trying to change because they know the effects of what it's doing to their life and to the lives of their loved ones. But when you're dealing with something, you need a higher power. You need a higher love than the love that you have for the Father. Your love for the Father is not the dynamite power that's going to bring you salvation. The word salvation means deliverance. It's not going to bring deliverance by your love for the Father. It is the Father's perfect love for you that will bring true, lasting transformation. And that, my friends, is what I'm experiencing right now. I've been away from my house for the past, going about 7 months now. And my gosh, I love Blake so much, but I feel so free from being told over and over again that there was something wrong with me and that I'm a bad person. And again, it's not Blake's fault. It's how he was raised and how he was taught. And I still absolutely love Blake very much. And I know one day that he will see these videos and the Father will open his eyes to my heart. But until then, I'm going to continue to grow in the Father's love and acceptance for me, whether anybody thinks this is a wrong message, this is a wrong teaching. I'm seeing it transform me so much. Who would have ever thought that the Father would use a cartoons, and this is not the first one that has brought this message. Songs. Here's another song. Here's another example. There is a song called Sweet Child of Mine by Bon Jovi. Was it Bon Jovi or Guns N' Roses? One of those. Talks about, you're just going to have to read the lyrics, but so incredible, so incredible. So many different songs to bring out a clear message to his daughter. I'm okay with what you bring to the table, and I'm loving you every step of the way. Relax. Everything that you think is wrong with you, I'm going to perfect, not by your willpower, not by you trying to restrain yourself or you condemn yourself, making yourself feel guilty. I'm going to perfect that which concerns you by my love for you and you taking it in. I'm going to say this, and if you understand it, awesome. If you don't understand it and are going to judge it, that's you, you know. So, but I am going to say this. For the longest time, I thought, wait a minute, I've been told that I need to restrain myself, from these habits of mine. But when I was told to stop and to let go of trying to restrain yourself, I thought, oh my God, that is so wrong of a teaching. Like, that is blasphemy. That's like, no, that's not true. Oh my gosh. Man, friends. I ate my words because as much as I wanted to not hear that teaching, that was the teaching that I needed to hear in order to get out of the habits. Because when I followed the teaching of you need to, that's you self control, you can stop doing that, you can stop being angry. Man, that just made me more angry and that made me want to just do it even more because I had so many people telling me, oh, you need to stop doing that. That's not good. Christians shouldn't be doing that. And man, they meant well, but it did nothing for me. It did nothing for me at all. And I know that I'm talking to certain people right now that people have told you to get rid of that drinking habit because it's hurting you and your family. It's hurting your pocketbook. It's hurting you. Get rid of that pornography. I've and you've tried and you have failed. Or maybe it works for you for a couple of days, maybe months, and then given the right circumstance, you go off on a trip and you are all alone and there's cable TV there and you find yourself indulging in it once again when you told yourself that you wouldn't do it again. That's what I mean, friends. That's what I mean. And the other day, I was thinking about it, and then all of a sudden, this the words started to come out in order to talk about it on my YouTube channel, and so I actually put it on my board in my room. That way, I could see it, you know, because like I said, I really thought that teaching was wrong. Like, what do you mean don't restrain yourself? You mean you just keep on doing it? Well, let me tell you something, okay? If you can't control it, then you obviously need something higher than your willpower, your own self-control. And we forget that self-control is a fruit from right believing. It is not your own willpower. It's not you saying, okay, I'm gonna like in the movie, she tried, she's like, okay, she tried and she failed. And years passed and passed and passed and passed, and she failed again and again and again. And guess what? That made her feel guilty because all she wanted to do was please her father, but she couldn't get a hold of it. Get she couldn't use self-control on herself. And man, God, that movie just fueled me up of like, whew, I know I'm going to make a message of this because this is the story of my life. I want to be a good Christian, but when you are dealing with things of your past or things, habits, you you want to break free from it. You want to break free from it. So I put this saying on my wall, and it says, indulging in your habit doesn't mean you are okay with the action. Okay? So when I say indulge in that habit, that means be okay with where you're at. If that means smoking, continue to smoke. You can't stop it. If that means whatever that means to you, okay? If you cannot love that person because that person is so rude, so obnoxious, so mean, just horrible, you can't find yourself loving that person, this message definitely is for you then. Okay. Indulging in your habit doesn't mean you are okay with the action. Doesn't mean you're okay with it. Okay. It just means you're not controlling it anymore by your own strength and allowing his strength, which is that dynamite power, that supernatural power, to get rid of it. So just because you are indulging in something doesn't mean that you don't that that you like to do that. I didn't like to hurt Blake at all. You know, I didn't want to do anything bad to my husband at all. Didn't want to do it. But I couldn't stop the hurt and the pain that I went through. And the only one that could save me was perfect love. So every time that I would lash out, say a bad word, numerous bad words would come out of my mouth. I mean, they would come out in color, friends. Let's just get real. They would come out in color every time. I started to feel I got worse. I started to feel more guilty and more guilty and more guilty. And that guilt started turning into more anger and more anger. And it was just like a freaking cycle until I finally just said, I can't. Don't you know? I even told this to Blake. Don't you know I want to be a good wife to you? Don't you know that I hate seeing this about myself, that I hate seeing this, that my children are seeing the violence come out of me? Don't you know that I want to stop? But I can't. I can't. And these 7 months have been so amazing because I stopped hearing the voices of everyone around me saying, get a hold of yourself, put it together, have some self-control, and not me knowing and being able to divide the word of truth. Seeing that grace was on the side of Jesus. Grace means you can't earn it. You can't earn this kind of perfect love on your life. So receive it. And that's what I started doing, friends. I started to receive the love of the Father for every screw up, every time that I would be angry and I would lash out either on a wall or, I would break something. I just finally just let go of trying to fix me. And when I got into my apartment, I was like, Father, I can't, but you can. And I just started receiving that constant love, constant love. Daughter, I love you. Daughter, I accept you. I know what you bring to the table. It's already been punished. It's been put on my son 2,000 years ago. You are accepted in your life for the rest of your life. You are in my son right now. All I think of is good thoughts. It was that element of water constantly refreshing her with his love and acceptance, despite what she brought to the table. And I started to see myself bloom. That's why I'm making so many videos. Like I had told myself, okay, I'm only going to make videos like maybe once a week. Now the videos are like just vomiting because I feel so free in my own skin. I have nobody telling me you're doing wrong or you're a bad person or there's a demon inside of you or you're not even saved. God, if you are tired of the labels, can you relate to that? You tired of people saying, man, you are so bipolar. You are so, schizophrenic. You are such a narcissist. Has anybody ever called you those names? Has anybody ever told you, man, you got an anger problem? Has anybody ever spoke like that to you? For so long, you can hear it and you hear it and you hear it. you actually start to believe it. And guess what, friends? Now it's going to come out more, and it's going to come out in color. Okay? So before you think that before you can judge me, let me tell you something. Give yourself the time, the perfect scenario, and I guarantee you something's going to come out. Something's going to come out. Okay? You know when you're truly free of something is when you have no desire for it. Okay? No desire to even tap into it. You can be in, okay, let's take I'm just gonna be silly. Let's say brownies. Let's say brownies, okay? And you want to get away from brownies. You just want to get away from brownies. You're like, okay, I'm gonna go on a fast. And I'm going to fast from brownies. I'm gonna go on a fast. I'm gonna fast on brownies. Okay. So you can't go to parties or anything like that if they have any kind of desserts, because more than likely, if they have desserts, more than likely they're gonna have brownies. So you're like, okay, I'm not gonna go to that place, even though it's my best friend who's having that party. I'm not gonna go there. I'm not gonna go to any buffet. I'm gonna fast, and I'm gonna get rid of this desire because I'm putting on the weight. Okay. So it lasts days, even months. You even start to see the effects of you losing weight because you stayed away from brownies, right? Okay. But then one day, out of nowhere, someone comes to your doorstep and says, it's your best friend, and says, hey, you didn't come to my party. Girl, don't worry about it. I brought you some brownies. If you can look at your friend, okay, and look at those brownies and be like, I want nothing to do with those brownies. Like, come on in, bring them. You can even eat it in front of me. I have no desire. That's a real transformation. But if you look at those brownies and say, God, what I wouldn't do just to have a little taste, then your life has not been transformed from those brownies. I'm sorry to burst your bubble, but that is not real life transformation. Okay? It's not. It really is not. It's when the people can do alcohol. You're like, oh, God delivered me from alcohol. Okay. I'm going to bring an alcoholic beverage to your place. I'm going to drink it right in front of you. And let's see if you can not want it, not desire it. If you do it through your own strength versus the Father, you have lasting, if you do it through your strength, those results, even though you're getting the results that you want, they don't last long. And that's what the Father doesn't want for our lives. He wants lasting results. He wants you to say, I don't even have a desire for brownies. I don't even have a desire. I can go to a bar and I won't even I'll eat it. The smell will get to me. It's disgusting to me. That's real transformation. Because think about it, friends, the world can do the exact same thing as you. They have self-control. Karate, they practice self-control all the time. If the world can produce the exact same results that you can, it's not divine. Divine means heavenly. You need a higher power, something that's going to give you no desire for it. And believe me, I have fasted from Facebook. I have restrained myself from overeating. I have restrained myself from even the violence and the anger and all that stuff. I have like, okay, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to, go to therapy. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. It only lasted for a little bit. Only a little bit. Shoot, it can even last for years. And you're thinking, oh my God, I'm delivered. Woo! Hallelujah. I'm delivered. But then that person comes to your door, or a right scenario happens, and then that word comes out of your mouth, or you just overly, completely lose it. And then all of a sudden it's like, what the heck? Like, I thought I was delivered from that. Like, I don't understand. And then guess what, friends? You start to feel guilty all over again. That's what I mean. Okay. I have seen Christians, my own friends, say, it's crazy. It is crazy. But I have seen them say, oh, I'm going to not watch soap operas anymore. I'm not going to watch any TV shows. TV is a bad thing. And it's crazy. It's crazy because when I see these things on Facebook, I'm like, yeah, there's a lot of strength in that person. I know they're doing it through their own willpower, because they will even say, okay, I'm not going to watch it, because God says this, and I'm not going to watch it. TV's bad. Facebook is bad. I'm just going to go on a fast. And then like 2 weeks later, you see them on Facebook, or you see them talking about a TV show that they just got. They are, that they're seeing or something. It's crazy. And it's like, dude, when are Christians going to stop adopting this whole freaking willpower, this, and calling it self-control? Like, let's get real, dude. Let's get real with each other. Why don't we stop trying to produce something from our own strength, and let's start to actually see that we can't. We can't. That no wonder Paul says, I'm going to boast about my weaknesses. And you know why he said that? Was because when he started to accept that he couldn't change, then he was able to see that power of God. When he relaxed and just stopped trying to give himself so many rules, then he got to see the power, the divine power operate in his life, and he no longer had a desire for it anymore. That's real life heart transformation. The Father is not here to it's not about behavior modification. It's about a life transformation. Jesus didn't come to change your behavior. He came to give you a life, to make dead people live, the Bible says. Okay? There are so many scriptures that I want to speak to you, but I'm going to be on here for hours, and I don't want to keep you there. But my point is, friends, is that this movie can speak to you if you allow it. Or if you've already judged this video and said, no, that is blasphemy, God is not telling me to do that. I understand that, because I was that critic too. I was that person. Believe me, I was that person. So you know what? I'm going to tell you right now, if you think that I am Satan himself, or working for Satan's kingdom, I completely forgive you. I can't make you see this. I can just deliver this great news to you of how and what it's doing to my life. And then after that, it's up to you to take it, But I do know that the Father is not pressuring his children to believe such great news. And because they didn't pressure me, I had to actually experience it for myself and realize, man, I really judged that teaching wrong. And now I am finding myself in a scenario and I can't change it. And now looking back, it's like, oh man, God, where are my weaknesses? Because where my weaknesses are, that's where I'm about to see a huge transformation. God, my beautiful Father, is going to show off in my life. Where there was tons of anger, now there's tons of love, because I stopped putting the rules on myself. So again, indulging in your habit doesn't mean you are okay with the action. It just means you are not controlling it anymore by your own strength, and allowing his strength, which is his dynamite power, to get rid of it. Friends, that's great news. That's great news. You are loved no matter what emotion comes, no matter what you bring to the table, and no matter what anyone has said or spoken over your life. There's nothing wrong with you. You were beautifully and wonderfully made by your Father. Don't be ashamed of what you bring to the table. You are too valuable, too special to the Father. I wish I would have heard this a long time ago, but I didn't, and that's okay. That is totally okay, because Father's going to restore not just my marriage, but the time that has been wasted, the time that has been lost in my life, everything that the enemy stole. The Father's going to give me 120% back. My husband loves me, and I love him very much, but it will be the Father that shows him this. It will not be by me pounding on his head saying you are wrong. It will be the Father showing him that this truly is the message, the new thing, the new way of believing. And it's all seriously, I'm not getting this out of my rear end. It's all over the word. No wonder sinners were so attracted to Jesus, because he was not condemning them. He was not making them feel guilty for being a prostitute. He was not making them feel guilty for cheating people out. Not once did he tell Zacchaeus what he did wrong and how he cheated people out. Not once. We automatically take the story of the woman that was caught in adultery, and we think, oh, look, Stacy, how could that be? Because he said to her, go and sin not. But what did he give her the very first thing? He said, neither do I condemn you. Go and sin no more. That means you got to receive that over and over again for yourself. Receive the gift of no condemnation for yourself. And then it will actually, that power, that love will transform you, and you won't even want to do it anymore. It'll take away all the desire of it. Shoot, it could even open up a huge thing for ministry for you. You have no idea what your weaknesses can create. And that's the message of what that movie, Elemental, what her weakness created something beautiful. Who would have ever thought a girl from a small town in Texas who had issues with anger and violence and pornography and so many others could actually bring a message that could be so powerful that it could possibly transform people's lives? Believe me, friends, the Father doesn't love me more than he loves you. You are perfectly and wonderfully made. And man, if you believe that, right believing will produce right living. I am a true believer of that. Stop trying to change your behavior and receive and receive and receive and receive the abundance of grace and the gift of righteousness, which is his righteousness, not yours. You will reign over it. Romans 5:17. I think that's all I want to talk to you. Actually, you know what? One more verse. Thank you for being with me this long. 2 Timothy 2, verse 13 says, if we are faithless, he remains faithful, for he cannot deny himself. Isn't that beautiful? He's saying every time that you fall short and you are doubting, don't worry, daughter. I will continue to be faithful to you. I will continue to bring in every blessing upon your life. I want you to see me as being the person that is being faithful to you. Always, constantly. And see how my love is going to transform your life and do wonders for you. May there be a new generation rising and us standing our ground and saying, no more labels. Done. Enough. No more labels. We are loved, and we are loved so divine. I love you, friends. Thank you so much for being with me for this hour and 9 minutes. I'm pretty sure there's going to be another video. I hope you were encouraged. And if you want to leave your testimony on my website, I would love for you to subscribe to it, because I'm going to be sending more messages like this and more scripture to back it up, and more stories of his love to help you see what I'm seeing right now. And yeah, go hit up that new clothing apparel. God, it's so amazing. Love So Divine, newlife.com. Beautiful, beautiful work. She's going to be adding more stuff to it. Love it. It is a statement. It is a statement. And go see the movie called Elemental. Amazing. I hope it speaks to you as much as it has spoken to me. Okay. Love you, friends. Until next time.